All right, so this is basically one of those kind of like Joey, like anthem type beats, kind of like orchestral brass instruments. So I just went in Xenology. I went with this preset called Biggie Brass. I went in a major scale because I wanted this to sound kind of like bright and like just one of them beats where like it sounds like you want to win, you know? It sounds like a Rocky Balboa type beat. It just sounded like an anthem, you know? The chord progression, I just went with 1, 2, and then 3. That's the way that I see it on this scale. It's kind of like climbing. It's climbing up. If you want to think of your like chord progressions as like a mood, if you want your chords to like lift people up, if you want it to be like joyful, then it will go up. But if you want it to be like sad, you'd have it probably the opposite. You'd have it like descending. Just think of like your chords and your notes and your melody like that. Like how do you want it to sound? Just approaching it like logically like that. So basically these are my chords. And then I've just like duplicated it over here. I didn't really know what I was going for when I was making this beat. I was just experimenting. When I was like halfway through it, I was kind of just feeling like this is definitely like a Joey beat. I'm gonna put some like big drums on it. Then I basically just stacked these notes. Each of the root notes, like for the chords, they're just like stacked with like a fifth. The note on top of that that's stacked once again. It's kind of like the middle note in the chord, but it's just been inverted. So we've like changed the voicing of it just to make it sound like bigger, you know? We just want to like stack these notes and make it sound large. On the top, I kind of wanted like this kind of like staccato, like trumpet sound. So I just made the notes like shorter. It sounds like it's a different instrument, but it's actually the same instrument. It's just how long the note is held for. And as you can see, I just like duplicated these root notes and I just lowered it down an octave as well. Then the next thing that we went with, just a square wave using operator. And then sort of with this like third section, I just like essentially layered over the top just some like simple notes that sounded good. I was just playing around on my keyboard and basically they just like play over the top of the original like brass melody, but it's like it's a viola. So just sticking with like orchestral sounds. I probably could have used Xenology again for this because it's like a similar plugin. For some reason, I just clicked on Triton like while I was making this beat real quick. Because the melody was like so kind of like simple, that then allowed me to go through and go crazy with drums. I went with this 808 from my stash kit and essentially it just like followed the root notes of the chords, so it was nothing too crazy. I also laid it with this kick, basically just lands on every hit, and this kick kind of comes and goes throughout the beat just to like emphasize sort of like the more intense sections. All the drums that I'm using from this are essentially from my stash kit and from the Ginseng drum kit, volume 3, that I have been using a little bit. They're just kind of like old style trap drums. Then the next thing that I went with, I just had this standard hi-hat pattern, but I just went through and if you look at the velocities, I just kind of like altered the velocities so it has like a little bit of a bounce to it. And then on top of that, I layered like a second hi-hat pattern. It's more just like for rolls and like fills. Then I just got these open hats. The best way that I obviously find pockets when I'm like creating my drums is just to play the beat back. I just like to like have the MIDI like record armed and I just like tap on my keyboard like when I can kind of like hear like a little pocket, and then I'll just like go back in and edit it with the mouse and just kind of like quantize it. So this is my main snare, and even the main snare's got like a little bit extra going on. So there's a few just kind of like accent notes there, as you can see. And then I've got like 5 other snares, just like adding like percussive elements. I'm just gonna like show them all together so you can kind of see what's going on. So yeah, that's the whole beat. So this beat will be up on my Patreon as usual. So be sure to check out that. And I'll also include this MIDI. So yeah, that's it for the beat. Thank you for watching.